first thing we have to understand is sweet spot movement, how the sweet spot moves through impact. This golf club, as it's moving, if you're the target, this red dot is the sweet spot. So its movement determines the path at any given time. So we swing and play golf on an inclined plane. In this inclined plane, the base of this plane, like the gutter of a roof, is pointing to you, which would be the target. But when we swing a golf club on this plane, if our angle of attack is along the ground, then the sweet spot would move directly in the same direction at the target. However, on the same plane whose base points to the hole, if we're hitting down on the ball, the sweet spot is moving out to my right and to your left. So on the inclined plane, as the club's coming down, it's moving out to the right of the target, and when it reaches low point, then it's neutral, it's not moving left or right, but as it moves up the plane, now it moves left of the target. So the sweet spot movement at any given time determines the path. So the path is not where the plane line is, or the base of the plane. We can call that plane line, or they call it horizontal swing plane with TrackMan. Even if that's at the hole, it doesn't necessarily mean the path is at the hole. So the path is where the sweet spot is moving on any part of this plane. So again, here, if we were to hit the ball right here, the ball would be moving out to, the sweet spot would be moving out to the right, out to the right, out to the right, out to the right. Then we get to low point, now the sweet spot's moving to the left. So based on where this ball position is, and the angle of attack determines whether the sweet spot is moving to the right of the base of the plane or to the left of the base of the plane. That determines path, not the plane itself. Okay, we just talked about how the sweet spot movement at any given time determines the path of the golf club, whether it's to the right or whether it's to the left, and how the angle of attack on an inclined plane does affect the direction that that sweet spot is moving. The next thing we're going to illustrate is how the D-plane is formed. Now the D-plane it means the descriptive plane, and that is by Theodore Jurgensen in The Physics of Golf. What Dr. Jurgensen determined is that a plane is formed by the movement of the club at any given time in any direction, and that movement is defined by this orange stick. So the movement of that club could be called the path at that given time. So it's going down the plane, the movement is out, down, and out. And as it goes up an inclined plane, it goes up and in. So if you are the target and the movement of that golf club is at you, that's the bottom line of the D plane. And the top line is formed by a point that is always perpendicular to the face of the golf club, both in horizontal and vertical. So as you can see, if the club face is aimed at you, which would be the target, and the path is at you, which would be the target, this forms a plane between these two sticks, and that plane is what creates the D-plane. So the D-plane can be small. For instance, a driver would have a small D-plane, and a wedge, where the path of the club and the face of the club would be very much divergent of each other, that would form a bigger D-plane. The further these two are apart, the path of the club and the face, the more wider that is, the more spin is created in golf. And when we get into spin, the ball will always start on the D-plane, the spin on its axis, so the shaft going through this golf ball is its axis. The ball will always spin around its axis, and the axis will always be perpendicular to the D-plane. So if the D-plane itself is vertical, and the spin axis is perpendicular to that, the spin will make the ball start on the D-plane, rise on the D-plane, and gravity will pull it straight down the same D-plane. Well, that's for a straightaway golf shot. But what we have in golf sometimes is when the path of the golf club is aimed or is moving somewhere not at the hole, and if the club face is at the hole and the path is not, that also creates a D-plane, but this D-plane is tilted, and it's tilted to the right. So that golf ball will, again, now the axis is perpendicular to that D-plane, and the ball will rise up that D-plane, the axis will be perpendicular to it, and then gravity will take it off. So there's your slice. And if we move the path of the golf club to the right and the face pointing at the target, that also tilts the D plane, which also tilts the spin axis. And the ball starts on the D plane, rises up the D plane, and then finally gravity takes it off. Now, we can have a path at the hole, and if the lie of the club is wrong, which that would be this, the face is pointing to the right now because the lie is wrong. That tilts the D plane. The ball will fade if it's toe down. The ball will hook if it's toe up. So an incorrect lie can make the D plane tilt. However, even with an improper lie, if we square the face up enough and close it, now the D plane's vertical again, the ball can go straight. So we can hit a straight golf shot with a lie that's improper. However, it does take a compensation to do that. But bottom line is, if we want straightaway ball flight, we have to have a stacked straight up and down D plane.